And welcome back to another episode of the Week 17 preview. As today we start with the wide receivers for the FanDuel main slate for Week 17. Let's get right into it. We'll start with one of the feature boys here. I love Justin Jefferson. Rematch all the way back from Week 4. In that game, first off, before we even get to Justin Jefferson stats, I think not only am I excited because of the short slate, the wide receivers are pretty much capped. Nobody's at the 95. Nobody's at like that expensive 95. So far, the most expensive person on the slate, I think, is Barkley at 96. Josh Allen's basically right at 9K. I know every single $100 counts, but even Josh Allen is kept right at that 9. So, there's nobody. Oh, that's another reason it's going to make it interesting trying to figure out who to get or figure out who's going to be the low owned pieces. A lot of pieces, a lot of players are pretty much 9,000 and lower. I mean, once you get to Saquon, yes, it's 96. But after Saquon, literally one player down is $700 cheaper as Bijan Robinson at 89. And then, if I remember properly, it was 88 at Cook, if you remember the last episode. But yeah, being capped at 9,000 and it goes down quite a bit. Yeah. And like I said, the next video that will be coming out soon, the tight end position, after a couple prices, it takes a huge dip down. So literally, if you're not paying up for basically Brock Bowers, you're literally looking for the right value in the files. I think there's literally like one or two wide receivers. I said wide receivers, tight ends in the sixes, in the six region period, and after that is like budget 5K tight ends or whatever. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Back to Justin Jefferson rematch from week 4. I'm pretty sure. And back then it was a 7 reception, 85 yard with a TD, 17.5. That's basically 2x from what his value is now. I think being at home might up that a little bit. He could probably 2.5x. Justin Jefferson every week has the potential to 3x, whatever his salary is. So definitely one of my favorite plays. I love AJ Brown this week, but like I said, the knee issue, like I said, it's still a rivalry game. Dallas will still play tough, but with all the injuries that they have, you gotta love either Saquon, obviously, but Brown or Devontae Smith at 7-2 to attack that weakened secondary. And then the other cover boy, Mike Evans, basically my 1A to 1B. Even though I did say I love Bucky Irvin, he's my favorite play in that game. But Mike Evans literally 3 weeks ago had 24.8 points on 118 yards, 8 receptions, and a touchdown. The incentive, not only is just Mike Evans good, and this is a great matchup, period, but they know they want Mike Evans to set that record of first 10 years straight of 1,000 yards in each season. Plus, extra incentive, icing on the cake, they are still fighting for a playoff spot. So I love that pick right there, along with Double J at the top at 9K. I love what the Cowboys did here. Like I said, he was still playing great, but anytime he fell in it or just got hit in the shoulder, they're not playing for anything. Don't damage that any more than it should. Makes the surgery even more complicated during the offseason. Just shut down CeeDee Lamb. Had a great season. I still think he got over to 1,000, mostly without Dak Prescott. So great season. Great effort by CeeDee Lamb once again. We will see you next season. Yes, I do like Scary Terry and Malik Neighbors volume-wise, but I won't consider them top plays, even though they could be considered. It's just that it's very... The volume has, especially for Terry McLaurin, has pretty much went from a bit consistent, and then all of a sudden now Zach Ertz, Olamide Zacchaeus, and other wide receivers like Dwami Brown are getting into the mix. So it's definitely a nice pick. Just I would caution that. But when it comes to my next top pick, it's all the way down at 7,500, Brian Thomas Jr. Now, the Tennessee secondary is not the secondary that it was the last couple of years. It has finally improved. Like I said, when you get literally 2 draft picks in the defensive backfield or any position, they're going to be some growing pains. In most cases, you kind of attack Tennessee on the ground. Tennessee is pretty much top half average in the secondary, but Brian Thomas, this is fantasy. He's one play every week away from just gaining considerable points. Basically, ever since mid-November before the Thanksgiving break, everything's basically been double digits for him with crazy ceilings. Basically, in the past 5 weeks, his lowest output is 11.1, going all the way up to 30.5, and got to 26.7 last week. So Brian Thomas Jr. is always a threat, especially with his ability to basically do a Mike Evans and an A.J. Brown, catch one deep, 50, 60, anything from 40 to 70 yards is in his range to make his day, and he's still slowly climbing up there. Still, the way he's playing, he is still a bargain piece at 7,500. If he keeps this up, he might touch 8,000 by the end of the season. Just for that fantasy respect, he deserves to be up there. As we keep going, we did mention Devontae Smith. Like I said, it's a beating up secondary in Dallas, so that's definitely a nice play. Talking about finishing the season strong, love Jordan Addison this week, 7K. He's been playing like he needs to be in the mid sevens, or at least no lower than 7.3, but 7 flat. I would definitely take that in a division matchup for the playoffs. All the attention goes to Justin Jefferson, even though Justin Jefferson can still dominate a game. It just means less attention and easier matchups for Jordan Addison, so I definitely like that option. We keep going down, and then yes, opposite that game, how do you attack Minnesota in the secondary? Because they blitz. Jordan Love is great against the blitz. Do you know what Jaden Reed did also in the game that I kept talking about, Double J? Well, JR over here in that same game, 7 receptions, 139 yards, 26.6 FanDuel points with a touchdown. So Jaden Reed on that opposite side of the game, I love that, especially at the price of 67. Yes, I know it's a pain in the butt, just like how Jaden Daniels lately can spread that ball around. But in this division matchup, and if I'm not mistaken, Christian Watson is still trending, questionable, trending into a doubtful reason. You know it's always a better option when one of those wide receivers are out. But regardless, even if they have the full slate, to me, Jaden Reed is still my number one target. I'll take that risk if he ends up somewhere with just a 3 or 8.3. I'll take it, especially at 6,700. Jaden Reed just has that upside, especially against a defense. It's one of those that the front seven is great. They blitz heavy. Jordan Love is great against the blitz, so I love taking chances there. Just one of those schematic matchups that I like to talk about, or just the way situations match up when I like to talk about, oh, well, guys that cover underneath. The Rams game, when I was like, you got 2 wide receivers that go underneath. Bills like to play a cover shell, keep everything in front. Well, Kupp and Nakul went off. In this game, I love Reed because of this matchup. Love it. Absolutely love it. Right next to him, Jacoby Myers. Like I said, we're going to continue the disrespectful trio on New Orleans. No faith there, so I will definitely be spreading the love with O'Connell and a couple of other pieces from that game, and then just cheap doubles or single stacks with Jacoby, doubles with Bowers, and then I'll just go from there. Other top plays, yes, Calvin Ridley's always a mention. You know, sometimes it's just going to suck because he stays so cheap, and you're going to hate it if you miss the week. Like, okay, you're hoping to get some. He only gives you 11.3. Fine, you didn't need him, but he didn't kill you. But those weeks where that 15.6, 17.3 potential for 63 is viable, and he 3X's that salary, is going to suck when you don't have him. So that's definitely a play that I like being around the field. Another one of my top plays, 6,200, definitely got to have him. I think one of the top plays for everybody is definitely going to be, for me, depending on what you do, is going to be Baker with Evans. I think even Contrarian, if you stack that game, I think Contrarian-wise, I think you add McMillan with a run back of Thielen. If you think Carolina could actually at least put up some points, because of what Thielen does reception-wise, he doesn't need the touchdown. Obviously, the touchdown is a bonus, because it does help to get some of the yardage, because that touchdown with the reception does help. But before that, ever since he's been back healthy, ever since he's been back healthy from November, after, first game back, November 24th, ever since then, 19.9, 17.7, 7.6, and 12.8. All those scores are good because he's just getting to 6.2. He's cheap. He's still cheap. Even though, yes, this week we don't want the 7.6. But for the other 3 weeks, remember, he was doing this when he was 5.2, when he was 5,200, I think 5,500, and then 57, 58 or something like that. Or maybe, I think he was 6 flat last week possibly. But these are all comparable scores as far as how cheap he is. So I definitely like Adam Thielen attacking the slot. And maybe even a little bit of a few deep slants, 10, 15 yards down the field, being Bryce Young's favorite target. And as we keep going down here, I like to probably mention, yes, there goes Jalen McMillan. Like I said, Christian Watson is still questionable with that knee, so don't know if he's going to play. Jalen McMillan. I guess the Colt wide receivers are interesting. Like I said, it is the Giants. So I guess you could take a look at those guys, Pittman, Josh Downs, and company. But the one thing I do like to bring up now, even though I don't like the matchup, Philly's a defense that I do respect, but there's no CD Lamb. So literally the next big target, and we'll go over obviously Ferguson in the tight end segment, Brandon Cooks. He's the new number one at 58. If you keep scrolling down, you got guys like Tolbert. Oh, that just came by. Earlier when I was looking at stuff, Sterling Shepard. So that's one less wide receiver. So McMillan looks even better. So that's more snaps for him. Even though he has kind of taken over that slot. Jalen Tolbert has been practicing limited all week with a finger, so he should be good to go for Sunday 1 o'clock. And then he's basically the number 2, and then it just goes from there. But hey, I mean, I'm definitely not favoring no Cooper Rush stacks this week. Not against Philly's defense, not in Philly. But I do think for salary saving upside, Jalen Tolbert at 52, Brandon Cooks at 58, all one-offs. I am not interested in stacking against Philly, not at all. I'll still be iffy if Dak was the quarterback. But Cooper Rush being the quarterback has played fine, but in Philly, that defense, no. Brandon Cooks, Tolbert are cheap one-offs just to help you with some salary savings there. And there is the wide receiver rundown, preview, breakdown, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Please like and subscribe. FanDuel wide receiver preview is done. The tight end video will be up later this afternoon. It will be produced soon and then probably posted before the end of the workday. Once again, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you like in the comment section down below. This is Grade A Fantasy. Good luck in Week 17. I am so excited this week, and I'm signing off.